you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Food is Medicine, so let's get cooking. Today is a super fun, easy recipe. I'm filming this on a Sunday. It's the perfect meal prep going into your week starting on Monday, or really anytime. It's super easy, super nutritious, really, really fun to make. It's basically a whole rotisserie chicken, so we're using the bones for bone broth for the base of our soup, and then the meat for some of the protein in our soup as well. And then it's also just loaded with vegetables. So this is a very plant-forward, fiber-rich, and then loaded with protein from the rotisserie chicken. I love that we are including the whole chicken as well, instead of going to the store and buying a high-quality bone broth, which can be very expensive. Using our own chicken to make our own bone broth just makes it taste so much better. You're so much more connected with the chicken that you're using for the meat as well. And yeah, it really just uses the whole chicken, and it really saves a lot of money in the long run, because the rotisserie chicken itself, you're already using it for the meat. It's about $8 depending on where you get it. And then if you use the bones as well, you don't have to spend that money on bone broth, and you already would have bought the chicken anyway. So I love that we've also got a lot of veggies. Going to go through the whole process with you guys. I have the recipe printed on the screen above and then also below in the caption of this video. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, if you guys are new here, my name is Hannah Thornburg. I am now a second-year resident physician in family medicine residency. I'm very passionate about lifestyle medicine, integrative medicine, and really just, promoting health in the kitchen and cooking healthy meals with you guys, bringing you guys along with me, and just showing you how easy really delicious, nutritious meals can be. We'll get into some of the nutrition facts along the way and why this meal is one that is just so good for you and will just support your health throughout the week. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to do, so I have my slow cooker. It is about almost 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. And so I have my bone broth cooking in the Instant Pot back there. I basically pulled all the meat off of my rotisserie chicken, and I have it in a bowl right here. I put the bones and some of the skin in this little basket in my Instant Pot. I'll link the basket that I use. My mom actually is the one who got me hooked on this whole recipe, so she recommended these baskets. So I put the bones in this basket in the Instant Pot, put about one pack, I'll get the exact ounces on the recipe, of chicken broth, and then some water. I basically just put the bones in the Instant Pot and cooked it on high for 2 hours. That's how I made my bone broth. You can, of course, buy it at the store, but again, the whole point of this is to use the bones from your rotisserie chicken to make your bone broth. So that is what I did. If you wanted to use a slow cooker like this, you could also just do that overnight to make your bone broth, but I love the Instant Pot because it's within 2 hours the bone broth is ready, and it's so rich in collagen, so good for you. So let me go get that. I'm going to remove the bones. I'll show you guys from the sink view. I don't want to get too close because, I don't know, some people might be a little bit grossed out by the bones, but I'm going to keep it back there. I'm going to show you guys the process, and then I'm going to put our bone broth in the slow cooker, which is where we're going to combine all of the other ingredients. So let me go get that. Okay. So we have our Instant Pot here. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells so good. And then I've got when you use a glove, it's still really, really hot. Okay. So I'm going to use my oven mitt. This is the little basket. And so basically this helps to separate the bones from the broth. I'm going to put those in the sink for now. And then we have just this rich, collagen-rich bone broth. I'm going to bring this over, show you guys. It smells so good, and this is going to be just a beautiful base to our soup. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to pour it in. Again, I love bone broth. It's rich in collagen, and honestly, in the average American diet, I didn't grow up learning how to use the bones of chicken, for example. We kind of just focus more on the muscle tissue of the animals, if you eat animals, of course. And so I think it's really cool to use the bones as well. And you're drawing out the collagen from those bones and some of the other, in smaller doses of like the vitamins and minerals in the bones, like some calcium, magnesium, all that stuff. So collagen is just such a wonderful way to support your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, even your GI tract is made of collagen. So this is a really, really great source of getting your collagen, and you can make it at home from bones that you would have just tossed in the garbage. And so I absolutely love this. It smells so good. I've made this before and just used the bone broth, and it is so potent in collagen. I remember putting it in the refrigerator and bringing it out the next day, and it was like jello. It was just rich with collagen. So in the soup, it does not do that, but it is really, really cool to see that. So anyway, we got our homemade bone broth. I'll include those instructions a little bit more thoroughly in the caption below so you guys can follow along. Just so you guys know like how much water I put in, how much chicken broth I put in as well. You can also use veggie broth or you can just use water. And I added a little bit of salt and pepper and rosemary. I'm going with rosemary spice this time around. Really any spices you want. You can really kind of be free with how you want to do this. So we got our bone broth, our homemade bone broth. And then we are going to start with the chicken, okay? So I basically just remove the chicken from the rotisserie chicken, and I'm going to, it's shredded kind of like this. I'm going to just place that in our bone broth. So I think it's really cool how we're using the whole chicken here. So we're getting collagen, and then we're getting more of our, protein, like the more of the complete amino acid profile from the chicken meat itself. All right, so we've got our chicken in there. I have basically a whole stalk of celery already cut up. So I'm going to just place that in there as well. Great way to get our veggies. I think celery to any soup adds so much flavor. It kind of gives it that whole chicken noodle soup vibe. Great source of fiber and all around just so wonderful for you. So I absolutely love celery in my soups. I don't really eat celery otherwise, so I find it's kind of a nice way to include celery into my diet. Otherwise, quite frankly, I'm not eating celery. All right, cleaned up my spill. So now I have my onion. That is the next thing. I just removed these beautiful cloves of garlic. I'll mince those in a second. But I already cut my onion because I didn't want you guys to have to see me cry on this video. But I basically you can use any onion you prefer. Lately, I've been using the red onions just because I'm trying to include more color in my diet. These beautiful plant colors we get, they are rich in polyphenols. And so if I have the option between a white or yellow onion and a red onion, I'm going to choose a red onion. I do find that they are a bit more spicy and they make my eyes water more. So when I'm cutting these guys, I use swimming goggles. If you saw that in my last vlog when I was making this recipe, I had so much fun with my goggles. So I've actually been doing that, and that does help a lot. So I already cut that onion, but it is one whole red onion. We're going to put that in. Onions and garlic are they're in the allium family. They are a great source of sulfur, which is actually critical for supporting our body's production of glutathione, which is like the powerhouse antioxidant. So, so good for you. So trying to get, good garlic and onions in your diet. Of course, it's just more plant foods in general. And now I've got 2 cloves of garlic. You can add as much or as little garlic as you like. I absolutely love garlic. So we've got 2 cloves. I'm gonna mince these up. The smell of garlic is so good. And the act of, if you guys have been here since the beginning and you saw my hummus video when I described the whole allanase, allicin, basically the different enzymes in garlic, and basically why it's so beneficial to cut your garlic before it basically activates these enzymes. Basically activates your garlic and essentially increases the benefits of it. So that is my hummus video. If you can go back and listen to that if you want. I go on a whole spiel and kind of how to remember that pathway if you're interested. But again, garlic in the allium family, super good for you, rich in sulfur. You can smell it. It's like clearly very, very potent and a lot of good polyphenols. So really good for you and helps to support your body's glutathione. And of course, all of these things, they're going to add just a wonderful flavor to the soup. It's going to be cooking all night in the slow cooker. So it's going to add so much good flavor. And the next thing I left these guys to cut with you guys is our lovely carrots. I love to get whole carrots. They're already washed. And I like to leave the skin on. Carrots are such a wonderful source of vitamin A, which is one of the fat-soluble vitamins. Do you guys remember the other ones? The vitamin A, D, E, and K. If you went to med school, that is one of those things that you remembered on the MCAT. But basically these vitamins, you want to consume fat when you're eating them. That's why it's good to have fat on your salads, because the green leafies have a lot of good vitamin K, specifically vitamin K1, and just like vitamin A in the carrots, or really any of those orange vegetables, it is best absorbed. The vitamin A or the K or the E and the D are all best absorbed when you consume fat as well with them. So technically, if you're going to get technical, carrots are a great source of a provitamin A. So it's beta carotene, which is a carotenoid, and the body converts the beta carotene into the active form of vitamin A in our bodies. Carrots are a great way to do this, boosting that beta carotene. It is just so beneficial for so many things, for your eyes, for your reproductive health, which you guys know I'm absolutely obsessed with. The corpus luteum is actually rich in carotenoids. That's why it is yellow-orange color. So very fascinating. That is the reproductive organ that occurs in the luteal phase and produces progesterone. But anyway, that is not a spiel for today, but I love carotenoids, and carrots are a great source of that. So we have about 5 whole carrots all chopped up in there. Let me just toss away these guys real quick. All right. And then speaking of carotenoids, we actually have tomatoes, which are a great source of lycopene, star ingredient of tomatoes. There's so many benefits of tomatoes and all these, but I like to highlight a few kind of key players or like superstars in these ingredients. And so lycopene is actually a red pigmented carotenoid, interestingly enough. So in a lot of your red fruits, vegetables, lycopene can be a really good source of lycopene. Tomatoes are a very well-known source of lycopene. Lycopene is very potent antioxidant properties, so it's very anti-inflammatory, which we know is so beneficial, and it has really good heart and brain benefits. And it's also been associated with a reduction in different types of cancers. The most cited one from what I've seen is actually prostate cancer. So lycopene can help to protect against prostate cancer. Basically, more of the story, the more fruits and vegetables you eat, the more fiber and phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals you're getting in your diet. Basically, eating a lot of good whole plants can really help to keep you healthy and help you live a long life. So that's what I'm all about as a physician. That is something I value so much, and I preach to my patients. And so I like to kind of translate that to you guys, outside of the clinic and into the kitchen as well. So that's why we're here today. And this is my happy place. I love the kitchen, so I love sharing this with you guys. But anyway, we have 1 can of organic diced tomatoes. Honestly, I try to do things on a budget. This is still super cheap. It was like $2 or $3. But I do opt for the organic and BPA-free lining of my beans and of my canned vegetables. A lot of the lining, if they don't say it's BPA-free, there can be BPAs leaking into your canned fruits and vegetables, and beans. So that is one thing to try and look for if you're able to afford. Just making sure that there's no endocrine disruptors in your canned foods, because my gosh, we're trying to be healthy here. So anyway, we got that and beautiful tomatoes. And then last but not least, we have our kidney beans. Again, BPA-free lining, putting those guys in. I love beans as well. They are one of those foods that is just so highly correlated with longevity, decreased inflammation. It's a great source of fiber. Let me go ahead and toss these real quick. So beans are so beneficial as well for those reasons. Again, all of these, I keep noting fiber. That is truly one of the most important compounds in our diet. Notably, it's one of the most anti-inflammatory compounds. I feel like a lot of the time we think about, turmeric being anti-inflammatory, or just fruits and vegetables in general being anti-inflammatory, or, that juice cleanse you might see at the health store being anti-inflammatory. Simply put, fiber itself is anti-inflammatory. And most Americans have a diet that is deficient in fiber. On my most recent literature search before looking at this, it said that most Americans, about only 5% of Americans, are getting enough fiber in their diet. For women, it's recommended to be at least getting 25 grams of fiber a day. And then for men, it's 38 grams of fiber a day. That is the bare minimum that is recommended for optimal health in your diet. And if only 5% of Americans are getting that, that is not good. It is truly one of the best ways to support your gut health, to decrease inflammation in your body. We keep finding more and more benefits of fiber. And I mean, it's clear that the American diet is deficient in fiber. We hear about magnesium deficiency, or people are deficient in all sorts of vitamins and minerals, vitamin D deficiency. But just thinking about fiber deficiency, basically what that's saying is Americans aren't getting enough plants in their diet, because plants are the main source of fiber. You don't get it in meat. You don't get it in your processed sugary foods. Even a lot of the breads have a lot of fiber removed because they're so processed. So, your whole grains, your fruits, your vegetables, your beans, your nuts, your seeds, all plant compounds, or all plant foods, and they're all great sources of fiber. So, moral of the story, the more plant foods you're eating, the more fiber you're going to get. Most people aren't getting enough. And this meal is a great way to get your protein, yes. Sometimes it can be hard to get enough protein if you're eating just a plant-based diet. It's possible. I have friends who do. But I find I really do feel well when I'm, consuming meat in moderation, but also making sure I'm getting enough fiber. And so this meal does a great job of so many beautiful plants and vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients in here, as well as beautiful collagen from our chicken bones, and then a whole complete protein in our rotisserie chicken meat itself. So absolutely love that. Wanted to kind of go on my little tangent there. Fiber is so important. I did a lot of talking about how lycopene and carotenoids, vitamin A, D, E, and K, are all fat soluble. Specifically lycopene, I don't think I noted that, but it's lipophilic, which means it is absorbed well in lipids. It loves lipids. Lipids, philic, loves. And so when you kind of think about that, you want to include fats in foods where you have a lot of fat soluble vitamins. And then also this can help with the absorption of lycopene, for example. I'm just adding about maybe like 1 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in here. I think that always really helps. Fats are so good for you. Specifically, olive oil is a really good healthy fat. Adding a little bit of salt and pepper. This would fit very well with a DASH diet. If you were to cut out the salt, it would have so much flavor even without the salt. I mean, just look at all the beautiful spices and just flavorful ingredients we have. So you definitely don't need the salt. I don't eat much processed food, and so I honestly like to add salt to my meals just a little bit, because otherwise not getting enough. But if you're trying to limit your salt, most people are getting plenty of salt in their diet, and so you definitely don't need to add this. If you're trying to limit your salt, if you have high blood pressure, you can definitely keep that cut out. And then the spice I chose last time, I chose paprika and turmeric, and I just kind of threw in a bunch of other spices. Thyme. This time I'm just doing rosemary. Rosemary sounded really good today. It's starting to feel a little bit like fall here, even though it's like still 80 degrees, but rosemary is one of those really warm, cozy flavors to me, so I included a little bit of rosemary as well. But you can be super, versatile with the kind of spices you use, really whatever sounds good to you. So anyway, there we have it. I don't want to spill it, but we have our beautiful, I'll get a video for you guys, our beautiful soup. I am going to put this on the slow cooker overnight. I'm going to put it on high heat overnight. Low would probably work as well, but I just get up super early in the morning for work, and so I just want it to be really well cooked by the time I'm heading off for work, and then I'm going to meal prep it, have it for lunch and dinner throughout this week as a super healthy meal. I'm getting my plants, my protein, and even some collagen in. So yeah, I'm going to have that all set up for the morning. I'll film for you guys the final product just so you guys can see how good it looks. One of the best feelings as well is waking up in the morning and smelling a meal that's been cooking overnight. It is just the best smell in the world. All the beautiful flavors from the ingredients coming together along with the homemade bone broth. It's just the coziest smell, and I absolutely love it. So I will show you guys what it looks like now, kind of a before and then an after. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This is one of my go-tos. My mom gets credit. She's inspire this type of recipe where you get a rotisserie chicken. She also loves rotisserie chicken, and she started making her own bone broth and making soup with it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a genius. So this has been kind of a staple for my weekend meal prep. Really great way to kind of keep me healthy, have something easy, something that you can easily meal prep and just warm up at work or for lunch, and even when you come home for dinner. It's just delicious, and it's the kind of meal that leaves you feeling so good after. And I hope some of these facts kind of get you guys excited about all the health benefits that this can offer too. Again, these ingredients can be super affordable. I got a lot of these canned ingredients, of course, beans and tomatoes, super cheap when canned. And then I have a few carrots, a stalk of celery, onion, garlic, and then a rotisserie chicken, which helped make my broth as well as provided the protein. And so I spent $8 on that and then a few on everything else. So this is a really large portion size. This really will get me and my husband through the week for a lot of meals, and it's very low cost. And so I always like to kind of show that too, that you can, make a really affordable meal for yourself that's healthy and lasts you throughout the week, and yeah, just really supports your health, because I don't want that to be something that is going to cost an exuberant amount of money. I want to show that you can use simple ingredients and make something so good for you. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been fun second year of residency now that I have more time to make more cooking videos. I have so much fun with these. I just actually, while the bone broth was being made, I just made this delicious butternut squash mac and cheese. It's entirely vegan, rich in fiber. It has butternut squash obviously hidden in it. It's got some beans in it. It's got cauliflower in it, and you wouldn't even know, and a lot of beautiful spices. It tasted absolutely unreal. If you've ever had like the Trader Joe's frozen butternut squash mac and cheese that comes around this time of year, I was really craving that, but Trader Joe's is so far from where we live. And so I whipped it up in the kitchen. I didn't film it because I didn't know if it would be any good. I'm going to make a few tweaks with the ratios of spices that I use, but it was amazing. And so my plan is to have that filmed for you guys the following weekend and have that up next week. So make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. I also do vlogs, and I talk about direct primary care because that is the practice I am planning to launch after residency. So just, little tidbits of all the things I really care about in life and have a lot of fun with. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you guys next week. I hope you enjoy this beautiful meal.